What's going on, everybody? Tonight in the NBA, playoff spots are getting locked in. Dreams are getting crushed, and a 19-year-old rookie just dropped a back-to-back 40-piece on grown men. The West is a minefield, and the East is finally looking settled at the top. And the future of the league might be wearing a Dallas Maverick jersey. This is the kind of week where one game flips a franchise whole narrative, and we're going to be talking about all of it on the lounge.
Yeah, it's that heat, no chill, all flame. Sports Lounge Live, we never play no games. Talking stats, trash, take static night. Step in the ring, bring facts to take flight. Sound up, lights flash, it's about to explode. Every mic drop heavy, every angle we load. From the court to the field, we call it how it feel. No script, just skill, this debate getting real. Sports Lounge Media, where fire meets the mic. Say what you mean, cause we don't do polite. Welcome to the lounge.
The Sports Lounge Media Show is brought to you by Cali Built Graphics. Welcome to the lounge.
You turn the simple into magic. Turn the background to a classic. Love ain't just in February, no. It's late night calls when your heart feels heavy. It's slow jams playing in a parked up Chevy. A real thing, baby, we don't move petty. Love ain't just in February, yeah. Sunday sweats and your big t-shirt ready. Every month you're my Valentine. Love all year, you're my favorite sign.
What's going on? What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Lounge Media. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. And when it's hump day, it's the Sports Lounge Media. Welcome back to the Sports Lounge Media. And I'm your host at the Chosen One, along with my other co-host, Mr. Mark Randall. And we are tapped in with the Sports Lounge Media, coming to you from all platforms across the social media world, and from the sports capital of the world. This is where Hoops Talks meets a barbershop energy, stats meets stories, and we give you the conversations you wish TV would have. We're in the final week of the regular season, and the play-on tournament is right around the corner, and the playoff picture is finally coming into focus. 10 teams have already clinched playoff spots across the league, and seedings is still wild, with teams shuffling every night. The play-in race is hectic, and we got a rookie in Dallas making history with a back-to-back 40-point game to close out the year. Let's break it down. Number one is Western Conference chaos in the playoff seeding. Number two is Cooper Flagg's rookie, explosive, and new wave stars. And three, we'll be talking about the star injuries, futures, and which team we trust heading into the playoffs, along with the injury to Luka Doncic and the MVP race. If you're watching live, jump in the comments, drop your team. Let me know that what you think and finish in the standings. If you're listening on the audio, screenshot the pod, tag Sports Lounge Media and on IG X, and we will show love right back. So let's talk about the first segment. We're gonna step into Mark setting the scene. We're gonna set the scene with the West playoff chaos. Let's start in the Western Conference, where everything from 3 seeds down is basically a bar fight, where you got the top couple of seeds feeling good, but from there down, it's tight. One loss can drop you, 2 spots can win and push you into home court advantage. The real chaos is in the middle. Teams that are already clinched but are still jockeying for a position, and the play-in squads who just trying to survive in every week. For a lot of these franchises, it's not just about getting in, it's about avoiding that 7 to 10 zone where everything can happen in one game. Now, real quick, Mark, when you look at the West right now, which team has the most pressure? When you're looking at the West, we're talking about the West now, which team has the most pressure on them heading into the playoffs, and why?
Let's say the team that has the most pressure on the West is probably going to be, realistically, the Lakers. Lakers are sitting at the 4th seed. They dropped already one spot with Luka being out. So it's going to be real tough for them when it comes to can they fall any farther because they're sitting tied with Houston, so they can even continue to fall farther. And you look at the remaining schedule, they can get knocked all the way down to the 6th seed. So that's going to be a big factor for them. They've lost 3 games in a row. Um, Houston has been on fire, so that right there, you're looking at you have a 6-4 in the last 10 compared to 8-2. The only thing that is saving the Lakers right now is Minnesota. Minnesota themselves are 5-5. That is all that's saving the Lakers right now because Minnesota is also doing the same exact thing. They're falling at the wrong time. Now, other than that, can you see? I mean, when you look at the top 3 spots, though, man, 9-1, 9-1, 9-1 in the last 10 games. Denver's won 9 games in a row. So I think the Lakers are probably in the spot that has to be worried the most, especially with Luka, which we're going to talk about later, possibly being out rest of the regular season along with Reeves. They actually are saying that they're going. I think they're going to Germany.
Yeah, somewhere in Europe. Yep.
Yeah, somewhere over there to
They're
let their
there
time
now.
get better to come back. So that's something we're going to talk about later. So my answer for your question is the Los Angeles Lakers, and that is my reason why is injuries and what they have to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I can partially agree with that because of the fact that the Lakers were on fire right before those injuries happened. They were looking like a team that could probably end up in the Western Conference Finals easy, right? You had 2 other teams above them with the Spurs and the OKC. I'm gonna say the Spurs have the most have pressure on them, but the most pressure I would say would be OKC to repeat. I think it's a lot harder to repeat. So the pressure is definitely on OKC if OKC can get through the Spurs or even the Lakers when Luka is back. Now, I will say this with the treatment that they are getting, it's the same treatment that Kobe got back in the day. So I expect them to be back. A lot of people don't think that they're even going to play the first round, but I think that they'll be back before the first round. Here is my theory. My theory is this. I think they wanted to be 4 or 5. I think they didn't want to be 3 and play Minnesota. I think that these injuries came at the wrong and right time. With that being said, if they play Houston, who they beat Houston in back-to-back days in Houston, they played them on a Tuesday, I believe, and played them on a Wednesday or a Wednesday and a Thursday, and it was back-to-back games. They blew them out at both games. I think that they feel comfortable playing Houston in the first round in a 7-game series. I think that they could beat them. With that being said, also that would put them in position to then be ready for the next round. Now that would also elevate them and get them ready with Luka and AR not being in the rotation. That would get them warmed up, getting them ready for the next round, and then they can get back to what they potentially are trying to achieve. But my theory is they want to play Houston, whether if it's home field court or not. So I think they want to be a 4 or 5 and share that because they don't want to go play Minnesota. You definitely don't want to play the Clippers and yeah, any of those bottom teams. And then you don't want Denver to even fall to a 4 or 5 and have to play Denver in the first round. So they're trying to avoid, I think, some of those teams and play Houston in the first round. Now, that's my theory. I don't know. I don't know exactly what, but it just makes sense to me when the injury happened. That's what my thought process and that's where my mind went immediately. But I'm gonna ride with that. But my most pressure is gonna be on OKC for sure to repeat. And with strong teams like the Spurs, Denver, the Lakers, once they get healthy again, putting that pressure on them to see if they could beat those high caliber teams. I think the most pressure goes to OKC. My next question for you is are you more impressed by the teams that clinched early or the ones that had to grind late to get in?
I've been most impressed with Denver. Denver has played their way in. They were sitting at 5 or 6 originally and moving their way up all the way to 3. when it comes to the Western Conference. So I would say Denver with what they're doing, and they're showing why they have a possibility of winning the NBA championship. We've seen them beat obviously the big teams when it's needed. Jokic is not, I think he's on verge of winning the MVP. So I'm going to say Denver is the one I've been most impressive because they've been having a grind. OKC, yeah, they're playing good, especially in the last 10 with San Antonio, but they've been sitting there at the top of the pack for the entire season. That's the Western Conference. Eastern Conference, you know, Detroit has lost Kate Cunningham. They're saying he's possibly coming back before the season ends. So, but
which is
they're
great news.
exactly. But you're looking at, when you look at that, when you look at the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference is set on playoffs, 100%. They are completely set.
Yeah.
Every person that can be eliminated is eliminated. Now, as now the same thing goes for the Eastern Conference, but the play-ins or whatever they call it, the 7 through 10 slot, those are not set yet.
Right.
So that's where I think on the Eastern Conference side, I'm impressed with the fact that we're going to see, a possibility of a Charlotte maybe even making it to a 6 seed. I mean, they're only 2.5 games back. Well, no, sorry, 1.5 games back.
Right.
So only team that is set in is Miami is set in where they are at set playing in somewhere in that 7 to 10 seed.
Correct.
So I would say it's the teams that are having to play in, not the teams that have been settled in for a while.
Right. And it's always the ones that are peaking at the end. The ones that are usually the ones that catch flame at the end that can knock out one of those teams that you probably have on your guys's paperwork saying that they're gonna win it all. It's one of those teams down there that you get scared of that will knock that team out in the first round. Does seeding actually matter for you, or are we overrating home court in 2026?
I've always felt home court was overrated um, because when they spend so much time, you know. So I just think home court is one of those things that's overrated. It's not compared to the same thing with the NFL. Basketball and NFL, I think, are very similar. Um, the baseball, I think, makes a difference, but when it comes to basketball, I don't see um, a home court advantage. Is what I don't see.
My last question is if I told you that one top four seed is losing the first round, who's your pick?
In both conferences or just one conference?
Either conference. Just one top four seed, 1 through 4. One of those teams is losing in the first round. Which one would you pick?
I would say Cleveland. That's who I think it would be.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. Um Surprisingly enough, I think 1 through 4 on the east side, obviously any of those guys is not safe, right? Um Detroit could lose, Cleveland can lose. I believe New York is top 4 right now, right? And it's Cleveland. Yeah, any of those 4 could actually lose. If I had to pick one though, um dang, you guys are gonna hate me for this, but I think it's gonna be Detroit. I think it'll be Detroit, not because I think Detroit had a hell of a season. I think that they're a hell of a team. I think Cade had came into his own, but that injury hurt that team. And I think him coming back and finding his role back after they've been gelling, they've been playing pretty good without him too. But I just think the inexperience of the playoffs will get to him playing one of those other 3 teams. Cleveland's been there. Celtics definitely been there, and New York has definitely been there. And I think experience is going to be key in a 7 game series. Now, if we're talking like 1 or 2 games, Detroit winning. You know what I mean? But in a 4 game series, stretching it out, have to win 4 games out of 7. yeah, I'm probably gonna ride with the inexperienced. And also on the West side, I mean, we could even say the Spurs, right, with the inexperience as well. So riding with that, we could talk about that as too as them being inexperienced as well. So it's gonna be one of those things, man. Going into that, it's gonna be chaotic. It's gonna be crazy. Now let's talk matchups. If the season ended today, some of these potential first round series would be crazy. You've got top seeded young teams and haven't been have fully been in the deep playoff smoke yet. Facing the experience, we talked about that. Veteran squads lower in the standings, such as those teams that Mark mentioned, like you got Denver. I mean, that team has been there. They've done it, right? You got teams like Minnesota, been there and done there. I've been there and done that on the West. I mean, the East, we mentioned those teams just a minute ago. Those teams are experienced against these other young teams. That's what we're talking about. Veteran squads lower in the standings. That's where styles, coaching, and playoff scars really show up. For those teams, the difference between the 3 spot and the 5 spot are going from we feel good to we might be out in 6. And for contenders in that 3 to 6 range, it's about picking your poison. Do you want the young athletic team or the slower veteran group that have seen everything before, right? So if you're one of those top 4 teams, which first round matchup are you secretly hoping for and which one are you praying to avoid?
That's a tough one. I I really don't have an answer to that one. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to explain it. If I'm looking to avoid these series, I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, help me with that feedback.
I was OKC. I'll be trying to avoid the Clippers. I'll be trying to avoid one of those bottom teams that have experience, like strong experience, or or somebody who has a big. Um, I think the East is pretty solidified from 1 through 4. I think those teams are pretty. I don't think, but which teams that you want to avoid? I mean, if you if you're playing in the first round, you want to avoid the Denver Nuggets. They're a scrappy old team that has experience, and Jokic, he's that good, right? You want to avoid Minnesota. Like I was talking about the Lakers, right? The Lakers want to avoid Minnesota. They lost to them in a 7-game series last year. They want to avoid them this year. That's a team that you want to avoid as a bottom team. You're
But with that, but real quick though, do you want? But if you've got, I mean, because as of right now, you're looking at if you look at it, I agree. Denver 100%, Minnesota, yes. Um, do you really want? Now, my question is this: do you want to avoid the Lakers?
with the healthy Luka and AR, you might want to. If you're Houston, you don't want to play them. You don't. Uh, if you're the Clippers or if you're the Clippers or you're the Warriors, you don't want to play them. You don't want to play the Lakers. The only 2 teams that I think that can beat the Lakers, um, appreciate you, Glory. Appreciate you. Thank you. Uh, Please hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate you and welcome to the community. But I would want the only teams that I fear for the Lakers as a Laker fan would be the Spurs and OKC in 7 games because they're gonna have home court. It's gonna be crazy. Um, I'm more fearful of the OKC than I am the Spurs, but those are 2 teams that, as a Laker fan, I avoid. Everybody else can get it. Everybody else can get it. Even if, I mean, to be honest, even without Luka and AR in the first round, I think that they still could beat Houston. Call me crazy. I think they still could beat Houston because on the
I'll call
only
you crazy.
yeah, because the only person really that you have to worry about would be KD and maybe Thompson. Outside of that, they really don't have nobody.
But when
That
you look at most of these teams, though, a lot of these teams don't have 2 stars. They don't,
that's what I'm saying. So I mean, when you're looking at Denver, you don't want to play Denver because they got players like they got, and they have a group that is talented. When you look at OKC, every single player, even their role players, play great together. But when you're looking downward past the Lakers, when you're looking into like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you, I mean, you're scraping at that point.
I mean, do you really have to worry about Portland or Golden State, to be honest, in the West?
Do you have to worry about Golden State? Now would have hurt Jimmy Butler with no Buddy
I mean,
Hield, no
you,
Kaminga anymore.
same thing. Do you have to worry about Portland? I mean, I don't find those two viable. I think they're getting knocked out right away.
Oh yeah, they're getting knocked out for sure. They're not going nowhere. That's what I'm saying. Solidified. I think on the West you got 6 great teams, maybe 7, and then on the West you got 4 great teams. It's lopsided. It's 4 and 7. I think. And that's my personal opinion. Call me crazy, but that's my personal opinion. I think you got 4 legitimate teams, and then on the other side you got about 6. Now you add Luka and AR in the first round, yeah, bro. I mean, the way that they've been playing with the option 1 being Luka, option 2 being AR, and option 3 being LeBron, yeah, man, it's wild.
I think the West is going to be wild. I think the East is going to be interesting, is what I think. On
Yeah,
that Eastern side, I think Detroit has the chance to make a run. I do still have Detroit and Boston going to the Eastern Conference Championship.
yeah. Let's move down to. Do you think the style still makes fights in the NBA, or is it just talent and depth at this point?
Talent.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of hard, right? Because you can get a talented OKC team and then get a really great style in Denver, and you really don't know what's going to happen. I think that's where it comes down to coaching. It does come down to depth. You know,
When you look at it, you have to look at two things. You face Denver, it's going to be obviously the style because that's what they are. Other than that, every other team in the NBA is based off of talent. Boston has a certain style, but they do have a little more talent. Detroit has talent; they don't have a big style. I think Denver is the only one that has an old school mentality, and that's why I think Denver's going to be the team to beat.
cool, cool. Now let's talk about the stress zone, the play in, that 7 to 10 range, and where no one really wants to be, but a lot of teams are stuck there. You've got squads that come into the year with higher expectations and now fighting just to stay out of single elimination basketball. And you got younger and upcoming teams that might actually be dangerous if they get through that mini tournament. Now the margins are thin. You could be one hot shooting night away from grabbing that 7 seed, or one bad 4 quarter away from going home early and answering some uncomfortable questions in the exit interviews. So with that being said, rank the play in teams in the West by who you trust the most in single elimination game. We could just pick one team on each side. Which team in the play-ins in those last 7 to 10 that you trust the most on each side?
On the West, I've got Phoenix. Is who I think, and on the East, I actually have Philadelphia.
Okay, I got the Clippers. I got the Clippers. I got the Clippers, and I got the Heat. I got the Clippers and the Heat. Based on experience and the way that they play, they can beat teams. They just can. That's it. I don't have no other explanation for that. Which French fries takes the biggest L if you lose in the play in, and miss the real playoffs? I'm gonna start this one off by saying the Warriors and the Clippers. The Clippers has been little brother to the Lakers for how long now? And they had Paul George and James Harden. What are you going to do with that franchise? And then you got the Warriors on the other hand, that has arguably the best shooter of all time, the best point guard of all time, and you surround him with talent, but yet it's still not enough to get him over the edge. The only time that it did was when they had KD, and they had Clay Thompson and it worked then, but now it's just not working. I think those two franchises have a lot to talk about if they lose in this first round.
When it comes to the style, you have to look at Golden State. Golden State has one style, three ball. That's the biggest thing. You learn how to shut it down. They're a small team. When you're running Draymond Green at center, you're too small of a team. So that's their biggest problem. As for the teams that I think Philadelphia is a team that it would be a disappointment if they don't move on after the first round. That play in.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Let's move into our second segment. But before I do, we got to give a little shout out to our sponsor.
This segment is brought to you by Number One Sports Fan. Welcome to the lounge.
So in the second segment, we're going to be talking about Cooper Flagg and the new wave, Cooper Flagg's eruption. All right, let's talk about the kid in Dallas, Cooper Flagg, the rookie, just followed up one huge performance with another, stacking a back-to-back 40-plus point game to close the season. That's not just a nice rookie. That's stepping directly into the spotlight and grabbing the league's attention. He looks comfortable. He looks confident. He doesn't look scared of the moment at all. When you see a 19-year-old putting up those numbers in the meaningful games, that's a franchise cornerstone energy. That changes how the front office thinks about the trades, free agency, and the entire timeline for the team. My question to you is, when you watch Cooper Flagg, what's the first comp that pops into your head? And do you even like the players' comps for him?
When you say comp, in comparison?
Yeah.
Comparison, I would probably say if you go to the current thing, I would say Jason Tatum.
Okay.
You know, if you had to look at old school, I could probably see a similar style of a Reggie Miller type player that is able to drive but also can rely on the outside, the jump shot.
Okay, I like that. Is this the kind of the late season run that puts a target on his back for next year, or does it actually help him?
He's got a target for sure.
Yeah, usually when you come in with that kind of mojo and you're putting back-to-back 40-plus point games and you are the spotlight, you are the team. Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see Kyrie Irving coming back and playing with him, or some more stars playing with him, and see what they can actually do. But what's more impressive to you, the points or how comfortable he looks controlling the game?
The control of the game. That's his biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's always important, right? Like, it's not so much like, I mean, Klay Thompson was that spot up shooter. You know, you could be a spot up shooter in points, but how you control the game, how you control the tempo, how you can direct your team, be a floor general, be a leader first. Those things are the most important to me as well. And I think that's what you're getting from Cooper Flagg. If you don't, correct me if I'm wrong. The next is, if you're a vet on Dallas roster, how does it feel knowing that a rookie is already the focal point?
I think the biggest thing is once they get a healthy roster, that's going to be their biggest difference. So we haven't seen the potential yet with them.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. Rookie class in the future faces, and it's not just Cooper Flagg, it's the whole wave of the young players into the league is different. You got multiple rookies and second-year guys looking like they are ready to be first or second options already. That speeds everything up for the front offices, for coaches, and for older stars who suddenly see their window shrinking. We might be entering a stretch where the faces of the league changes faster than we're used to. Instead of a one era dominating for 10 years, we might see new guys rotating into the spotlight every 3 to 5 seasons. My question to you is, give me your top 3 future faces of the league candidates under 23 in order. Obviously, we know Cooper's number 1, right?
Cooper, Wemby.
Cooper, Wemby, easy. Yeah.
3 is a tough one.
It would be a third one. Kate under 23?
Kate's 24.
He just missed the mark. What about AR? He ain't under 23. He under 23. Obviously, and those guys are over 23. Um, I want to say this. I gotta put top five. Maybe is Lamelo Ball now. He's been carrying. He's been carrying Charlotte. And got him into the play in. Lamelo Ball. He up there.
I think my third one would probably be Amin Thompson.
He's been all right. He's been all right. I wouldn't say that you could stick him on a team like Cooper Flagg and he can carry like a bottom feeding team. Like you can't put him on Utah and then they finna be good. I mean, look at what Lamelo Ball has done. I mean, he took a Charlotte team similar to what Cade has done, although Cade is over age, but it's similar. Interesting though. Interesting. Do you think that we're entering an era where a window is closing faster for older cores because of how advanced these young guys are now?
I think the old guys need to stop living in the limelight and get the heck out of the league.
Yeah. I mean, if you're making that kind of money though, I mean, do you leave if you're still playing at that kind of level?
Shouldn't be, shouldn't be. I mean, to me, aren't you stealing at that point?
Yeah. Um which franchises do you think set themselves up for the best with their young core over the last 2 years or 3 drafts? I'm going to start this one off with OKC. OKC has put together a freaking young team that has evolved into a championship caliber team. Now the problem is when they get into contract negotiations with some of these players, that's what's going to hurt them. Because a lot of these players is going to I think this I mean, we're watching are we wait a minute, y'all. Are we watching a repeat of OKC back in the day when it was Russell Wilson? When it was KD? When it was James Harden? We might be watching a replay of that because these guys are going to want contracts and want some and want their own team. Are we watching that pops into? Are we watching a replay?
I think sometimes having young talent, you got to make sure you keep the revolving young talent and keep that core player. That's the biggest thing, and I think OKC's going to have a hard time. OKC's going to have a hard time. For me, I've got Detroit.
Okay. All right, guys. Let's move into award impact from an award standpoint. What Flagg's doing right now is huge. Voters, remember what you do in April. Closing the season with statement games, especially as a rookie, can swing some minds when they sit down to check those boxes. It's not just rookie of the year either. These late runs can affect most improved, all NBA conversations and all of that. When the narrative turns late, that's when often what sticks in people's heads. Did the last stretch of the games just decide rookie of the year for you, or was it already done? I think we talked about this like midseason that we kind of thought that Cooper Flagg was that man. But I think it solidified after that back-to-back game and what he's been doing by himself as of late for me.
Is Cooper Flagg basically a version of Anthony Edwards? I think that's the biggest question. Can he take over complete dominance like Anthony Edwards has done with Minnesota?
Yeah, and what he can do in the future too. He had a great season this season. Can he repeat that? When people dial up, right? When they dial up. How much should late season statement games matter in awards voting compared to what you did in November and December?
I don't think it should matter. I think what should matter is just looking at the talent of the game that you're playing against. Are you playing against a bunch of backups and dropping 40 on back-to-back games, or are you playing against the star talent?
Yeah. Outside of rookie of the year, which award race feels most up in the air right meow? Yeah, and I said it. Meow. If you watch that, never mind. Let's carry on. Yeah. But anyways, uh, outside of the Rookie of the Year award, what other award seems like it's still up in the air?
MVP, because when you look at MVP, it's is Luka going to figure out how to come back for even one game? I mean, because all he has to do is play in one game. Now, what if he plays? Is there a time duration? That's something that I'm not sure of, but I've been looking into. If there's a time duration, how many minutes he has to play to get credit for the game, or can he come back and play 1 or 2 minutes just out of the board and say, "Hey, I'm just going to cherry pick, not move, and just to get that one game credit to put him at 65 to
Yeah,
get the MVP race."
you just have to start. You just have to start the game.
So start him, pull him right out.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, let's move into segment 3. Um. Before we do, let's talk about our pet of. Let's talk about pinball real quick. Y'all see pinball. You see how cute pinball is. If you guys want to go donate, you guys still can at Hearts and House. Scan that QR code right there. You can donate for Hearts and House. They do accept that. They also vet their dogs, and they also chip them and all of those great things. If you want to be a part of doing that, and also those who are business owners want to get a tax write-off, go ahead and visit Hearts and House. You also can visit them, I believe, at www.heartsandhouse.com to adopt your future pet, your future friend tomorrow. So go check them out. Also, don't forget to visit us at www.sportsloungemedia.com, and you can go see all of the great blogs that we've been posting there. We go live there as well if you want to watch us there live. Also, you know, there's a lot of great things that are happening within our page. So please check us out on there at www.sportsloungemedia.com. We do have a QR code. We'll pop that up later if we get a chance to. But if not, that is where you can find us, and you can also find us on all platforms. Please go check us out on all platforms. Hit us with that like. I mean, it's free. Hit us with the subscribe button. We got a goal to meet by kickoff, and so hopefully you guys can get us there. I know our community is, so tell your friends, your family, your people all about us, and we'll greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much for all of our sponsors as well for sponsoring us, and our future sponsors that we haven't even mentioned yet. Thank you so much for going on board and considering us. We love it, and you guys will be seeing those in the near future. We're going to start segment 3 in our final segment, one of our final segments: injuries, future, and who we trust health heading into the playoffs. Every year, injuries decide at least one series, and this year is no different. You've got stars dealing with nagging stuff, teams being ultra careful with the minutes, and the coaching basically trying to thread the needle between rest and rhythm. Some teams are willing to risk the seeding to make sure that their main guys are fresh. Others are pushing hard for positioning and hoping that their stars can hold up. And all of this happening within the playoff play-in in the first round. Right around the corner. Question is are we in an era where teams load management so much that they never really find a rhythm before the playoffs?
I think they need to stop with load management. Just let them play. The injury. I'm not saying you have to play 2 weeks of games, but they need to start understanding. You've got people that are playing to see you play. You've got people that are saving to see you play. I'm not saying you don't need a break, but I think it becomes a little excessive where these guys are taking, multiple games. They're playing every 2 to 3 days. They're not playing, 60 minutes. They're not playing 40 minutes. You're talking about like 25 to 30 minutes a game is what a lot of these people are playing. So I think the load management thing needs to really needs to come under control quite a bit.
Awesome. So my next question to you would be which injury situation are you watching the closest heading into the first round? I'll say this. I'm looking at Luka and AR. I'm gonna take that one because without them, Bro, my Lakers are in trouble. I think they're in trouble, brother. We are really great when all of them are playing and we have our role players healthy as well. But with that being said, going deep into playoffs, that's I mean, obviously we're gonna handle that, right? We're gonna make sure that our guys is good going into the second round, but that first round is gonna be everything to so they can get. When we talked about that load management, we talked about rhythm. That's when get that rhythm back and playing great basketball. With AR, I'm not too worried about Luka. I think Luka can come back. He can play great. He's definitely a ball player, but with AR, there's some spotty games with him. So to get him back into rhythm, those two injuries are the ones that I'm looking out for.
The one I got is Cade Cunningham. With him just returning tonight, they're saying that he has a possibility. So if he plays the next 3 games, he will fall 1 game short. But there is a rule in the collective bargaining agreement that states if there's special circumstances and because of that player falling and causing his lung to collapse, so that might possibly keep him in the MVP race. Now, do you risk that after the great season that he has had to risk possibly doing something worse for the playoffs? So for me, it's going to be that what's going to happen with Kate? Can he handle the uptick after missing 11 games?
Yeah, 100%. Let's move into teams we believe in versus teams we don't. With the brackets taking shape, it's time to separate contenders from pretenders. Contenders from pretenders. Some top seeds have looked like juggernauts all year. Others with great records, but still give you. I don't quite trust them. Feeling when you think about a 7 game series. Meanwhile, there are teams that are a little lower in the standings that just feel dangerous. They got that star power, the coaching, and the playoff reps. Those are the teams that you look at and say, I don't care what seed they are, no one really wants to see them. Now, give me one team you absolutely believe in and one team you absolutely do not, even if the record looks similar.
Absolutely believe in Denver, 100%. I believe
We're talking lower seeded teams.
lower seeded teams. Oh,
I'll start it.
so
I'll start it off. I'll say Minnesota. I absolutely believe in. Um, and who I don't. As a top seed, uh, the Spurs.
I don't believe in the Spurs.
And then on the don't believe on the top seed on the East would be um yeah, Cleveland. I'm gonna say Cleveland. And
I,
then team I believe in on the lower seed that you don't want to play is the Heat. They just have too much experience.
I believe so. I don't believe in Cleveland also, and I don't believe in San Antonio. As for believing in the lower seed, now I think Toronto. I believe in what Toronto can do. I think they can move up. Um, and I also believe on that western side, I would probably say um, I agree on Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota is that team, man. Minnesota is that team. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Legacy and narrative stakes beyond winning and losing, right? This postseason is going to hit legacies. For some stars, another early exit might mean the narrative starts to turn. For others, one big run completely change how we talk about them going forward. For certain franchises, a first round loss could trigger coaching changes, front office moves, and trade rumors all summer. For others, as a deep run could buy them timed and stability. This final week of the regular season is basically the prologue to all of those storylines. Which star is under the most pressure to at least make a conference finals this year? So if we're talking about older players, right? The most pressure I would say would be it would be KD, man. I'd say KD and LeBron.
What
Uh,
about Steph?
ooh, that's another one. There's a lot of them, bro. Okay, so Steph, KD, Bron, um, those are all on the West though, and then on the East, man, on the East, it's a lot younger. James Harden is over there, but you're really not worried about James Harden like that. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say, nah, man, and that's about it. I think that's about it. Them three players, I think they need to make a final. They need to, those are the three guys that we have seen. Two of them on the Warriors and the other one on the Cavs. Battle it out. Ring chasing individuals and star studded, and they need to make a final, or else you might see some changes happen, or you might see retirement happen.
I think Steph should retire. I think it's time for him to retire. As for KD, I think he shows that he's been nothing but a ring chaser, 100%. So I think if he does not make the finals and win with the roster that he has, then it's just going to show that he's not as good as he was.
And with KD, I think that after this season, if he can't make a great playoff push, Seattle is coming, and he did say he wanted to retire as a Supersonic. So at that particular point, if he doesn't make a decision by the Supersonic comes, he'll play probably one season with them, and it's just no more. It's just all about legacy at that point of maybe a point chasing, move up in the rankings of how many points he's putting up or whatever it may be at that point. And just about his legacy more than chasing the ring.
I think that's been KD's biggest problem. He's a stat chaser, just like LeBron. LeBron's been a stat chaser. And I think that's ruined the legacy that the players have had of the past with the legacy that they have currently.
Yeah. Any last takes, brother? Any last takes about this season or anything that's going on? Let's do a wild take real quick. Who do you see in the Western Conference Finals, and who do you see on the Eastern Conference Finals?
Eastern Conference, as I said earlier, I got Detroit and Boston. Western, I've actually got OKC and Denver.
Yeah, on the Eastern, I'm gonna go with give me the Celtics and give me the Knicks, and on the Western Conference, give me with a healthy Laker team, give me the Lakers versus OKC. Non healthy Laker team, you could replace them with either Denver or Minnesota. But all right, that's whoa, what happened? I'm glitching, y'all. All right. That's gonna do it for us tonight on Sports Lounge. We hit the Western Conference chaos and broke down who's real and who is loud. We showed love to Cooper Flagg and this new generation because anytime a rookie is dropping a back-to-back 40s, you got to tap into that. And we talked about health futures and which team we actually trust with the playoffs and the play-in around the corner. If you rock with the show, make sure you subscribe to the Sports Lounge Media on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X at Sports Lounge Media. Tap in with me personally, if you can, and drop your playoff predictions in the comments or in the our DMs. Who's getting out of the West? Who's getting out of the East? Who's going to be the surprise team we're talking about in June? We've got live coverage coming all in the plan and the playoff long. Watch along, instant reactions and breakdowns. So turn on your notifications so you don't miss when we go live. I'm the chosen one. I'm here with Mr. Mark Crandall. This is Sports Lounge Media, where we talk all sports and the way we talk and the way we actually talk sports. Stay safe, stay blessed, and we'll see you back in the lounge. We appreciate you for tapping in. Same time the show next week. Bring your hot takes and we'll read them live. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. Do you have a last statement about Luka? I think you wanted to talk a little bit about Luka's injury. We covered it pretty well, didn't we? Yeah. And so guys, tap in with us. Thank you again for each of you guys to join the community here. And again, thank you for joining us on the lounge. We'll see you guys same time, same place on Hump Day next week.
This segment is brought to you by Brian Martino Construction. Welcome to the lounge.
Sports Lounge Media. Where fire meets the mic. Say what you mean, cause we don't do polite. Welcome to the lounge.